This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of our series, Ethical Clarity, Transform Your Decision-Making. In this episode titled Introduction, What is Ethical Clarity? We'll explore what ethical clarity really means and why it's essential for making informed decisions. So, let's dive in. About half the people you meet could tell you their job title faster than their core values. Yet, in the moments that actually define a life, choosing a boss, a partner, or a boundary, it's those hidden values, not the resume lines, that quietly run the show. Ethical clarity is what turns those vague, "I just feel like this is wrong" reactions into something you can actually use. It's not about being perfectly moral or never making mistakes. It's about knowing what you stand for clearly enough that you can see when your choices drift off course. Research across psychology and business keeps finding the same thing. When people and organizations can name what truly matters to them, decisions get faster, cleaner, and easier to explain. That sounds abstract, until you're staring at a promotion that requires looking the other way, or a relationship that thrives only when you keep quiet. In those moments, ethical clarity is less like a halo and more like a floodlight, revealing trade-offs you'd rather not see, but can't ignore if you want to respect yourself tomorrow. Your challenge this week? Notice one decision each day that makes you hesitate, and ask, what tension is really happening here? Write down the conflicting pulls, status versus honesty, comfort versus courage, loyalty versus fairness, without trying to solve them yet. By the end of the week, look for patterns. Which tensions keep showing up? Those recurring fault lines are where ethical clarity will matter most for you in the episodes ahead. Ethical clarity doesn't show up only in big, dramatic crossroads. It quietly shapes the small, harmless choices that stack up over time. Think about how you forward an email, split credit on a group project, or respond when a teammate is badmouthed in a private chat. These micro-moments teach your future self what's normal. Over weeks and years, that becomes your default setting under pressure. Research on habit formation suggests that when your everyday choices line up with what matters most to you, you're less likely to freeze, rationalize, or outsource judgment when stakes suddenly rise. Ethical clarity becomes most interesting when you stop treating it as a personality trait, "I'm a good person," and start treating it as a practiced skill. Skills have structure. They can be broken down, trained, and measured, not just admired. Researchers who study moral decision-making often see three layers show up when people respond to hard situations. First is perception, noticing that there is a moral dimension at all. Second is interpretation, naming what kind of problem it is: fairness, harm, loyalty, honesty, dignity. Third is prioritization, deciding which concern wins when they collide. Ethical clarity lives in the combination of those layers, not in any single one. What the studies repeatedly show is that most failures don't come from cartoon-level malice. They come from fuzzy perception. "This is just business," lazy interpretation, "everyone does it this way," or unexamined prioritization. Hitting the target is non-negotiable. How we hit it is flexible. When all three stay vague, you can drift into choices you would have rejected if someone had paused the moment and asked you to say out loud what you were trading away. In organizations, the same three layers appear at scale. Policies and codes of conduct shape perception. What gets labeled as an issue worth pausing for? Training and conversations shape interpretation. Which concepts people reach for when they explain a messy call? Incentives and leadership behavior shape prioritization. What actually wins when ideals clash with deadlines? That's why a company can have a glossy integrity statement on the wall and still reward the people who quietly bend the rules to make the numbers. Think of a sports team that reviews game footage after a loss. They're not just asking, "Did we want to win?" They're dissecting where awareness dropped, how they misread the play, and which instincts overruled the game plan. Ethical clarity improves the same way. Not by promising perfection next time, but by slowing down enough to study how your internal playbook handled the last round. Consider a product designer told to make an app more engaging. Mid-project, leadership hints that adding friction to canceling subscriptions would help revenue. She notices a knot in her stomach. Perception, something's off. Interpretation, this smells like exploiting confusion. Prioritization, is she more committed to user respect or hitting quarterly targets? Her eventual choice, pushing for a clearer cancel flow and proposing alternative revenue ideas, signals to herself and her team what really comes first. On a larger stage, a tech company discovers a security flaw. One path, quietly patch and hope no one notices. Another, disclose, compensate, and explain how they'll prevent repeats. The second route costs more in the short term, yet studies show firms that respond this way rebuild trust and market value faster. Your own design decisions might be about how you share credit, set boundaries, or respond to small injustices. Each one updates your internal blueprint for what you'll tolerate and what you won't when the stakes rise. Your future working life will be crowded with systems that make choices for you, recommender feeds, risk scores, automated approvals. Ethical clarity shifts from a private belief to a practical interface. It's how you decide which defaults to accept, override, or redesign. Like choosing keyboard shortcuts, you'll embed your priorities into tools you use daily. Those who do this deliberately will shape system behavior. Those who don't will quietly adapt to whatever the system optimizes for. Over time, you'll start to notice not just what you choose, but the quiet settings behind those choices, like privacy options you tweak once, then rely on daily. As that internal menu gets clearer, you can negotiate roles, projects, and relationships more honestly because you'll know which terms are flexible for you and which are non-negotiable. Try this experiment. For the next 24 hours, before every decision that involves another person, an email reply, a meeting comment, a favor, a no, pause and silently ask, what would ethical clarity look like here? What's honest, fair, and aligned with my real values, not just my comfort? Then deliberately choose the option that feels slightly more uncomfortable but more ethically clean. For example, giving direct but kind feedback instead of staying vague, or declining something you can't do well instead of overpromising. At the end of the day, notice where choosing clarity made things simpler, even if messier in the moment, and where you still dodged it. Those dodges are clues to your real ethical blind spots. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!